Alright, and we're live. So welcome to another live stream, and I'm gonna start getting back into these soon. So today, as I mentioned on Discord yesterday, we're going to be working on the chunk system. Well, today specifically, we're going to be working on the map editor and getting chunks working on there. So yeah, that's basically all. I just want to mention as well that the stream is now in 720p, so there should be less crashes. Right now, I actually have other people at home as well. It's probably going to be like that for the rest of the summer. So I don't want to hog all the internet, and also them using the internet might slow down the stream a bit more. Hey guys, how's it going, Raging Rabbit and Slime LP? So yeah, I started a little bit of work on it already this morning. Well, I started the stream started a little bit late, but I had to go to the washroom. So I'll just show you guys quickly what I've been doing. So basically here, I'll just create a test map. Now I have a renderer that renders it using the whatchamacallit. Yeah, it renders using a libgdx instance now on this side panel here for editing. So it's going to render faster, and we're going to be able to do some more stuff with that. So I just need to adjust a few things for it to work properly. So yeah, I'll start by doing that. It shouldn't be too difficult. Yeah, I have this here. I'm gonna have to move this stuff around here. So right now I'm using this panel here, but I'm changing that up a little bit, and I'm rendering the map using map.draw. But there's a few things I need to adjust with that. I should probably pass the scroll pane to this world renderer, or maybe that's a bit overkill. Because no, I'm just not going to use a scroll pane anymore. I'm going to make it so we can just drag the map around to move it. Here, like kind of like this. I actually still have the GIF here. This is, yeah, well, I guess kind of like. So just make it so you can drag around like that. So I'll probably have to add a dragging tool, so I won't use a scroll pane anymore. Like you can see in here, there's a scroll. I won't use that. So I'm going to have to add some sort of dragging tool, and I think also I'm going to use spacebar as a shortcut for that. So basically the way it's going to work now with maps using the chunk system, when you create a new map, instead of having to define a width and height right away, it's basically going to be in the editor you're going to see a chunk grid, and you basically just edit in those chunks. And if you need to load up a new chunk to edit, there'll be a button on the chunk to load it up. So you can either generate it using a like a generator, like for islands, or you can just generate a blank one and you can draw your own stuff on it for things like dungeons. We'll also have to change some things for the edit menu and all that. I'll probably remove the generate menu here too. So yeah, a few things are going to change for this, but I think it's going to be good. It says I have a lot of drop frames, even though I'm because it's doing 720p, but it's still uploading at the same bit rate, so that doesn't help too much. Let me know how the stream is so I can adjust it. But yeah, that's my plan for this. Also, it crashes whenever I try to close it. I don't know why. Oh, actually, I can try something quick. There must be some sort of closed listener for the frame. Anyways, I won't focus on little details like that for now. We'll just work on the... Oh, here you go. Window listener, window closing. So we should probably also stop whatever it is. So the world renderer. Do I do stop, or maybe it's a Java game library canvas? Here, that should help. Maybe not. Anyways, let's just work on the other stuff. So the first thing I want to do is to convert everything so that it all renders using the libgdx renderer, which is this world renderer here. So I need to go see all the rendering code. So it's here. So perhaps I should pass a map to it, or maybe if I just pass the main editor. Alright, see you, Raging Rabbit. Sorry I started late too. Yes, I'll pass the editor to it so you can get access to the map. Just keep these as protected. Alright, see you, man. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so we're clearing the map, so we don't have to bother with that. We'll just change the render to, well, we'll keep it as red background for now. Map.draw. Okay, it passes the asset manager, so we're probably gonna have to change the asset manager to using textures. List that selected value. Okay, so that's... Wait, why is it passing that? Oh, right. Okay, I know why. Okay, I don't have to bother all the scroll pane stuff. Okay, it's passing the graphics there. Okay, so for the map, I'm going to basically just change it. So here we have map.draw. Grid tile, what is that image? Oh, it's like this. Asset manager.get element by ID. Okay, so to start out, we're going to change it so that the asset manager loads libgdx textures rather than other things. So where's the asset manager? World. Okay, asset manager was right there. Okay, so it has a map tile. Now what is a map tile? Okay, it has a buffered image. So we're going to change this to a texture region. Oh, and this is, okay, this is for the rotation. So you can get this code from Archipelo. So it would be world tile. Okay, we're actually gonna have to change quite a bit of things, I think. Okay, so add these methods to map tile here. Draw icon. Okay, so we are going to need the texture region just so we can draw the icon. So we're going to need both. So that's a bit of a pain. It's not very good for memory management, but there's nothing we can really do about it, I don't think. So it was a buffered image, I believe. Icon is equal to null. And then here we need to do, we're going to need all this basically. And here we're going to accept a buffered image. And all this, we won't need it. We're just going to do this dot texture is equal to texture. Okay, and for the draw for this, we're going to be using a sprite batch. Okay, and we're going to need to keep track of, this needs to be icon. This is main editor. And we're going to need to keep track of the flip X and flip Y. So let's just put this here. So public boolean flip X flip Y, and I should be in the data variable here. So do this dot flip X is equal to data dot flip X, and this dot flip Y is equal to data dot flip Y. Okay, but for the rendering, it's a little bit more complicated than what we just did. Again, we're going to have to go into the tile. We could do animated tiles in the editor, but I don't think I'll bother with doing the animated ones. I think we'll just keep everything static in the editor. It'll look better, I think, that way. Okay, so this is how we're going to draw the map tile. So use that code here. Texture. Oh, and we also need to keep track of the rotation. So there's still some errors here. Oh, it's just import errors. Perfect. Okay. And we need to change this a little bit here. So we need to pass a sprite batch. Spell the class name here. And this passes batch. And here we need to render the invalid tile image. So batch dot map editor invalid tile. Okay, so we're gonna have to load in this texture instead of using a buffered image. Should be somewhere here. Invalid tile equals new texture. Hopefully this will work, although I'm not sure. I think we might need to do a bit of extra work to be able to load in textures this way. So I'm sure there's going to be a bug on this later. Actually, what are the options for the constructors for the texture? Texture data, map handle, internal path. Because the images are saved as a source folder, which is kind of stupid, I think. Okay, and it takes the invalid ones from the assets of the client. Okay, that's cool. So if I do invalid.png, this will hopefully work. That's what it's called, right? This file? Yep, invalid. It's in the assets folder. So hopefully that'll work. Invalid tile, we need to change that here. Also the grid tile we should probably change as well. So texture. Going to have to change this, move it around. So move the grid, copy, paste. So grid. There's new texture. What's all these errors here? Oh, right. Okay, so it needed the main map editor there. Okay, don't worry about that for now. And we'd just be batch.draw. We don't need this null thing here. Draw element by ID. So we need to change the elements in a second. And load here. So here we need to pass in the okay, this will be nice and easy. So instead of using a buffered image here, we're going to be using the whatchamacallit, texture. And then here we need to specify a texture region using the texture. So it'll be new texture region and use tile map image. Import this like that. So that's texture and the icon. Oh, I shouldn't have overridden that other stuff because we're going to need it. Do not convert from, oh yes, this becomes texture region. Okay, so we're going to need to get the buffered image again. Tile map buffered image equal to null. It's equal to is image dot image io dot read. I don't know. It's kind of weird the way that you load images there. Dot read. And I'll just copy this in like that. And it was tiles.png. Oh no, how did I do it before? Here, I'm gonna go on GitHub real quick. Okay, it's get class dot get resource as stream. Okay. Dot get resource as stream tiles. Okay. And then this was buffered image icons equal to new. No, it was a little different than that. Why don't I just copy the code here? Tile map image dot sub image. Okay, cool. And this was tile map buffered image. Okay, so now the only error we have left is with the elements. So let's go into the elements class and change all the rendering stuff in there as well. So where is it? Here, map element. Okay, so again, we're doing all this flip operations in advance, so we need to change that. The paint icon. So we'll change this to icon. Icon, and we're going to have it accept a texture region. Call this on texture. Okay, see in this one we're keeping track of the rotation and flip already, which is good. So that'll save us a step. Texture region, texture. Yeah, we need to filter the icon there. And then for this, we just do this dot texture is equal to texture. And here we're going to need to change the render method to use sprite batch. Oh, right, so there's some offset stuff here. But if you go in the Archipelo code for the map elements, you go into plain element, we should have all of this already set up. We're going to need to add in these methods like we did before, so that won't be too hard. We just go into map element here and copy all of this. Probably don't need this offset stuff here. Copy that, put it here, and we need to change this to main editor. So this is kind of boring right now, but once this is all done, we'll have the rendering all fixed up. We're going to make some adjustments. You know, we're going to set up a camera. We're going to have proper click detection, like it's going to project it to the game world. So we can have things like zoom and whatnot. So yeah, this looks fine, I think. Yeah, we have the icon rendering here. So we just need to change this to using the sprite batch. And of course it has to render an invalid tile if it's invalid, so we just do this. One thing I'm not too happy with is I use a lot of static images and stuff in this. I don't know, I think that looks kind of unprofessional, but when I made the map editor, it was a long time ago. It was before I restarted working on Archipelo, like in late 2015, early 2016. I made this in summer 2015, and I worked on it a bit last summer as well. So the code is a bit amateur, but it's okay. It's not too bad. Okay, so we're going to change this to buffered image, like we did the other one. Except now we know in advance what we need, so we don't have to waste time with that. This will become the icon. Okay, so it's still giving us some bugs because we need to load this up properly. So it would be element map image, and then this we can change. We can initialize element map image is equal to a new texture. Okay, and then now we just need to initialize the texture. So texture, it's a texture region. Region texture is equal to new texture region. Okay, and the texture is the element map image. And then all this X and Y stuff we can just steal from there because it should be the same thing. So my mouse is still glitching up. I need to buy a new one. I'll probably do that in the next couple of weeks. And put texture there like that. Okay, so just an import error because we're not using the graphics anymore. Okay, now the map, we need to change it up a little bit. So what do we need to change here? So we still have the asset manager. Selected list value. The X and Y, we have the visible X, visible Y. I'm not too sure what that's about. Oh, that's the part of the map that's visible. So this defines a rect of what's visible in the map. Okay, that's the X and Y. This is the X and Y of the tile. All right, not too bad. Get tile by ID. Okay, so there's a few things we're going to have to change here. So this graphics, first of all, we're going to have to change to using a sprite batch. Selected list value. How am I handling that here? Selected list value is not equal to null. There's one. Okay, so depending on the layer, I'm right. So the selected list value is in the list when the person editing the map selects a value and they're hovering over the map. We want to render over what's currently at that position, what they have selected, so they can see what it would look like when they place it. Okay, this renders the grid. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff here going on. Okay, so let's just change this up so it uses the batch. So that should be good. And then we'll change this to using a batch as well. And this. It's a bit hard to see those errors because they're just one letter. Generally, when you're doing something like this, it's not just a variable you're using quickly. I don't think it's a very good idea to just use one letter for variable names. It is what it is. Okay, so honestly, I think that's it. I mean, I think it all renders correctly now. We just need to change it so that it doesn't render from the main editor anymore, but it renders from our world renderer. Calculates the visible area. Yeah, we're not going to really need that anymore. Okay, and this is some information, so we're going to need to use a glyph cache, I think. Okay, so world renderer, I'm going to have it here. So let's see what we have access to from the editor. So editor.getMap. So we can get the map from the editor. So that's good. So if editor.getMap is not equal to null, then we can do editor dot get map dot draw. So we can draw it from there. So from the editor, we're going to need to have a bunch of getters. So dot get asset manager, editor dot show tiles dot show elements, here I'll change that to map elements, and show grid, editor dot so you can create a method here like this, and we can return the asset manager, and we can do show tiles, basically just auto generating all these things here. Show tiles should be a Boolean variable, so it's right there. Show map elements, show elements I believe was the variable's name. Show grid. All the tile X and tile Y stuff we're gonna have to change a bit. There's actually a lot of things we're gonna have to change. But basically all that's going to be handled by the world renderer now, since we're going to be doing some more complicated stuff. Selected layer that we can get from the main editor. So editor.get selected layer. Selected value. So I'll just do editor.get selected value. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. I think this is list.get selected value. Here we send in the batch, and this I believe is all the calculations for the whatchamacallits. Yeah, it's all the calculations for what's visible in the map. So like, yeah. I guess I should calculate that stuff. For now, I'm just going to do 0, 0, and I'll use gdx.graphics.getWidth. So we'll just say the whole map is visible for now. Whoa, what? There's more stuff than I thought. Get value 5x2. Okay, what are all these things? X and Y, visible X, visible Y. Okay. So this is also 0, 0. And this is gdx.graphics.getWidth. gdx.graphics.getHeight. Okay, cool. So we also need to give the tile Y and tile X. So basically the way we're going to do that, well, for now it's going to be simple. It's just going to be gdx.input.getX and gdx.input.getY. Although the thing is that we're going to be using a game camera to render this thing. So the input won't be exact. We're going to have to project and unproject the input. I'll do that now because it makes more sense to do it now, I think. So let's get this game camera class. I think it's pretty much safe to just copy the entire class. And put it in here, and then we'll just clean it up afterwards. So world render.units per pixel, so we can get that from here. I believe it's 1/3. So basically the game world gets scaled up 3 times with that. Oops. Okay, we don't need this entity to focus on because we're not looking at entities and stuff. So basically this will become if goal is not equal to no. No, this will make it, no. We don't need to do this. We don't need a goal vector. No, we don't need to bother with that. Let's just keep that there in case for the update method. Okay, that's basically all. So we can even specify a zoom, which is pretty cool. So definitely going to be using that. So you can actually zoom in on the map editor now, which will be good. We'll have the move. We'll have all that stuff set up. What's it? Okay, yeah. So I just need to add it to the world renderer now. So let's create it. So protected. What's called game camera. Let's call it cam. This dot cam is equal to new game camera. We'll put it here. Okay, so it uses the gdx.graphics.getWidth to start out, but we're also going to have to set it in the resize, because when there's no map loaded, the width and height of this world renderer is 1 by 1. It's just something that I saw when I was testing before. So in the resize, we're going to have to resize the camera as well. So resize, width and height. And to match before we render, we do set projection matrix and cam.combined. We can also do cam.update here, just to keep it updated with gdx.graphics.get delta time. Whoops. Is there anything else we need for the camera to make it work? Here, I'll close the one from GDX. I mean, from Archipelo. I think that's it. Nothing else we need to really do. See, this is the cool thing here that we have. The cam.getViewRect, that basically does what I was calculating before, for calculating what part of the map is actually visible. So this returns a rect of what's visible on the map. So this will be useful for optimizing our rendering. We can actually do that now. So it creates a new collision rect, so maybe we should save it. So here, so we'll do collision rect is equal to cam.get erect. And this will be, I called it rect, right? Yeah, rect dot x with offset, rect dot y with offset. And this is quite simply rect dot get or dot width rect.get or .height. Okay, also for this, for the gdx.input.getx and get y, we're going to have to change that a little bit. That was wrong too. Should have been divided by tile size, but anyways. So vector2 mouse location is equal to cam dot project, so convert world coordinates to world screen coordinates. That would be unproject. Convert screen coords to world coords. So in gdx.input.getx and getY, it gives us where the user is clicking on the screen, but we need to know what that translates to in the game world. So we need to use this. So new vector2 gdx.input.getx and gdx.input.getY. Whoops, forgot those brackets. Okay, so this gives us a vector2, and this becomes mouse location dot x divided by main editor dot tile size. And this is basically the same thing. So mouse location dot y divided by main editor dot tile size. Because we want to get the tile location of where the mouse is. Okay, so it says we're calling it wrong. So let's check this out. Boolean. It's because it thinks that we're giving it a float. So we'll typecast it here. Well, I mean, I guess we are giving it a float because mouse location.x is a float. And it's still complaining. Int object sprite batch. Same with the other floats here. So this should be int, and this too. Oh, what else? Oh, it should all be ints. Even this here. Okay. So that seems to be working. Well, I mean, that doesn't seem to be working, but I mean, that seems to be done at least. I'm just going to factor this, refactor it a little bit. No, I don't need comments for that. It's self-explanatory. Okay, yeah, so the main editor here, I can now remove, there's a lot of code I'm going to have to remove now. Okay, I'm getting close to it, it's here. Yeah, so this is where it renders it, so this clears the map. I should put a to-do here. To-do render, call it like a okay, so this gives the X and the Y. And I don't know what these things are for. Oh, it's like the position that we're supposed to render it at. Okay, I see. All right, so we can remove all this stuff here, I think. I'll keep the get preferred size just in case. Okay. What else is it complaining about here? Right, so there's tile X and tile Y. These variables I should remove, I think. So it's going to cause some errors. But that's fine because okay, so world render, I should have a tile X and tile Y variable, so let's do that. So public int get tile X, public int get tile Y. So wait a second. No, I don't need all this. This is for the map. So the different tools, we're trying to add in different things when things happen. So map is not equal to null. Mouse 1 pressed. I don't like the way I programmed this. I think this kind of sucks, to be honest. Diddy adder, this. So I'm thinking I'm going to copy paste all of this stuff into the map render. So let's do that. I really don't like this mouse 1 pressed business. I think that kind of sucks. Okay. So we're just going to use the click events, I think, in here. So on touchdown, we're going to, you know, depending on what tool is selected. So in the main editor, we're also going to have to specify the tool that's selected. Wait, what is it again? It's selected tool. So that's just an int value. So get selected tool. Okay, and we have to make sure that, okay. Oh, I have embedded switches here? Wow, that's kind of confusing. Okay, so you do things depending on what the tool is. So let's just copy this here. Wait a second. This links with that one, so copy this. Okay, so basically, so in here we're going to do if button is equal to button dot the GX must have some sort of thing for buttons like this. GDX. Here, I'm just going to Google it, I think. Oh, could it be it's buttons dot left? Oh. Okay, there you go. So it's left click for the main button. So it'll be this. Alright, so of course there's a bunch of errors, so we can do editor dot, that was get selected layer. Editor dot get selected tool. Hopefully we can do main editor dot this. Okay, it's all privated constants, so let's go change that here. Public. I see this bucket fill thing we're gonna have to change a little bit. So basically we need to make it so it only fills chunks that are loaded. Oops. Well, that shouldn't be too hard to do, I don't think. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about the chunk loading thing. Honestly, I don't even know if I'll get into it during the live stream. I'm thinking that the chunk stuff I'm going to do off stream so I can figure out the best solution. I think a little bit better when I'm off stream, so probably do that this afternoon. Is window open? Add open window. Oh, okay. Is that public? Good, thank you. Oh, hello, Artem. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention too much to chat. It's been pretty quiet today, it seems, on the stream. A lot of people that watch it later on, though, so that's cool. Yeah, it was kind of weird this morning. I'm using Twitch alerts by like Streamlabs, I think it's called. Basically, it does that thing so whenever people subscribe, there's like a pop-up message that says, this person just subscribed, welcome to the channel, or whatever, you know? And since I haven't streamed in a while, for some reason it felt like it should catch up on all the people who weren't on the who weren't showing up on that list. So it was really weird. Like when I started, well, not when I started the stream, but when I was just testing it out, Streamlabs started sending out the alerts of everybody who subscribed since the last live stream. And it was, I don't know, it was super annoying. I don't get why they did that. Like for our channel, there's probably been maybe like 75 subscribers, so it did it 75 times. But imagine if you're like a really big channel with like thousands of new subscribers, you know, who joined since the last live stream, or even tens of thousands. That's just nuts. Like, how are you even supposed to do a stream like that? You just have to turn it off. So I don't know what was going on with that, but it was kind of stupid. Yeah, so we need to do this unproject thing here. Okay. So there shouldn't be too many errors left. Bucket fill elements, right? Okay, because that's not in there. So that makes sense. Oh, I actually handled the tools in this code. This really wasn't well designed. Anyways. Okay, so let's get down to that bucket fill method down here. Let's just copy these. Put them in here. So this will be editor.getMap. Oh, of course it needs to be cast to an end. That's annoying. Because for libgdx, pretty much everything uses... Oops, is that actually not it? Constructor is not defined. Oh, yeah, I need to pass the editor in here. So yeah, with libgdx, pretty much everything is calculated in floats, like for pixel locations, which makes sense for a game because like it can cause some bugs if you're using just int values, if entities are moving at certain speeds. Like, I won't go into the exact math of why that happens, but yeah, it can cause some weird stuff. But for the map editor, it's fine to use int values. So there's kind of this incompatibility with them. I keep having to convert the items. I mean the coordinates. Okay. So I need to do a bit of error checking here before doing all this stuff. So I should be making sure that the map is not equal to null. So if editor.getMap is not equal to null, or rather I should do, if it is equal to null, then oops, then just return here and don't bother going through the rest of the code. Yeah, return false. What other error checking do I need to do here? Oh yeah, we need to make sure that the coordinates are actually within the map and that the map tiles are not null. So that makes sense. So we can do this here. So we can do like that. Return false. And I think that's it. Alright, so if the mouse button's clicked and spacebar is not pressed. Because when spacebar is pressed, it does kind of a different thing. We're going to be doing that dragging around the map. So we need to make sure that spacebar is not pressed for this. And gdx dot input dot is key pressed keys dot space. So, and that's not pressed. Okay, cool. And there's also this part here. This is for if mouse 2 is button is pressed. So we got this here. So this would be else if button is equal to buttons dot. So this would be right click. So mouse 2 is right click. Put this in here and we do editor dot get. Selected layer. main editor dot. So for the right click, what it does is it, if you right click in the game world, it'll basically make it so that the item that you have selected in your hand will change to the item that you right clicked on. So it's just like a handy thing. Like here, I'll just show you quick in Pixel Edit. It's the same exact functionality except for tiles rather than pixel colors. So like just say draw a bunch of stuff, but just say you want to get this brown again, but you don't have it in your palette, you just right click on it, you get it. It's the same thing for the map editor. That's the kind of thing I'm trying to achieve with that. .get asset manager. Okay, we need access to the list here as well too, so we're gonna have to do like get what was it called? It was like a J list or something. Yeah, J list. J list. Get tile list. Return list. Oh, it's a raw type. Is it an icon list? Item list? Let's just go up here. Oh, list. Oh, because it's a generic class. So it's a list of objects. So it's a J list of objects. Like that. So then you do editor.get tile list. There you go. Okay, we've got these errors here. So at this point, we can basically just get rid of all this. We also have the mouse values here. We should get rid of these as well. So see, these are all the click listeners. Origin equals get point. Oh, and this is where the tile map change gets added. Oh, I see how that works. That's kind of cool. Okay, well basically I can just move this. So let's create a getter for the change list. So get public change list is equal to public change list get change list. Oh, there already is a get change list method. Cool. So let's go back here. So in here, before editing the map, oh, because this is continuous. Oh, I see how this is working. Okay. Ah, I get it, I get it. So all this actually belongs in the touch dragged down here. That makes more sense. Okay, and I guess you can't drag the right click. It doesn't make sense to do that, so we have like that. And then the touchdown we have this. Else if button is equal to buttons dot left yeah, we're gonna need all these calculations here. Okay, so if it's a left click, change list. Okay, yeah, so switch on the selected layer. So switch selected layer. No, it's editor get selected layer. Case main editor dot tile layer. Case main editor dot element layer. Okay. And then in here, we do some stuff. Whoa, I didn't copy that. I think I'm bound to have a few bugs, at least, with all this stuff going on, but it's okay. We'll move these bucket fill stuff down to the bottom, just to keep it out of the way. Okay, so if we go here, so this is all this mouse drag stuff, so see if the space bar is pressed, then we want to move all that stuff around. We're not going to bother with this for now. Mouse moved, so yeah, we're getting the mouse position there. We don't need that, you can just delete it. These button 3. Anyways, whatever. And we probably have a bunch of variables we're not using anymore here. So space pressed we don't need to bother with anymore. All this origin stuff neither. What are these things for here? Oh, okay, this is just for the calculating where the spacebar is pressed. Okay. I think the best thing to do right now is just to run it, see what happens. Oh, of course, a crash. And that's to be expected, I guess. Yeah, GDX of the files on internal is null. So it wasn't able to load in these yeah, the assets here. How am I gonna do this? I think maybe the asset manager, I should put that in the world renderer. I have no idea. Whoops. So manager.clear. So where am I initializing it? Asset manager.load. So what if I put the asset manager before this and I pass the asset manager into the world renderer? Like that. Oh no, not the libgtx asset manager. It's the holobit one. And this dot asset manager is equal to asset manager. This listener, I honestly don't even need it anymore. I just don't. I'm just handling all this stuff in here now, so don't have to bother with all that. I can even delete that mouse listener class because we absolutely don't need it anymore. Okay, so now the asset manager gets passed into the world renderer. So I'm thinking that in the world renderer, in the create method here, we can do asset manager dot load, and it'll load all the textures and it'll do it properly. No. Huh. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Well, obviously I'm doing something wrong. Let me see with this libgdx thing here. So libgdx window in swing. Container. What is the container? Okay, get content pane. Yeah, I'm bound to find it somewhere. Swing utilities that invoke later, but now the application crashed. What is this swing utilities thing for? How is the stream doing, by the way, like quality wise? Seems like it's a lot of frames that are dropping. It's like at almost 14%, which is a lot. Oh, my voice keeps cracking. Drink some water. Right, that's what I thought, because saying you can't load assets on a thread that's not an OpenGL one. But I am using an OpenGL thread though. The create should be an OpenGL thread. Let's try something else. Protected Boolean assets loaded is equal to false. Okay, so if not assets loaded, asset manager dot load. All right, let's try this. Yep, still the same thing. But I am using OpenGL things though. Like that's working. I know for a fact. It's like it's rendering things and it's doing all this. That is how I'm supposed to load them, right? I just do .load. I would like to continue the stream, but honestly, I think I should probably just stop it here. Kind of hit like a bit of a roadblock with this whole thing. So I'm gonna get all this fixed in the next couple days so we can actually work on the chunk system in the next live stream. So I'm hoping to stream on Thursday morning. That's my goal. Next 2 days I'm just really busy. I have a ton of appointments and stuff. It just happens to be like the perfect storm of things like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna end the stream here, and I'll fix these little bugs in the next couple days, and I'll do another stream on Thursday, and we'll actually get to work on the chunk system. It'll be much more interesting instead of just figuring out all these things by Googling solutions. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.